So back in, I'd say 2018 or 2019, I used to get into so many arguments with ex-boyfriends or guys who I would date over Elon Musk, because at the time, everybody thought he was like this brilliant entrepreneur who was bringing in electric vehicles. A lot of people thought and still think that he founded Tesla when he didn't actually found Tesla. He just invested in Tesla. And to me, it was so clear what a dark soul he was, without sounding too woo, that any time that I was dating someone and they told me that they were really into him, I would be instantly turned off, or we would get into fights about it. And I think in a way, there was one guy who I dated who was an engineer who I think saw himself in a way in Elon Musk, and he would oftentimes defend incel energy and just have these really like indefensible standpoints, in my opinion. And part of why I do whistleblower work. So people come to me with stories of power abuse or problematic dynamics in their workplace that need to be exposed. Could be discrimination or bullying or something more hard, like technical, like an engineering problem or an environmental concern. And one of a Tesla engineer was one of the first people who had actually come to me, and she was the only Tesla engineer in the facility at that time. And I only found out this full story by actually talking to someone else and putting the pieces together. But she was working on the Cybertruck, and she told me that she had some problems with the way in which the Cybertruck was constructed as an engineer who focused on like material issues. And she brought those problems to Elon Musk. Well, first she brought it to her manager. Her manager was like, we don't need to worry about this. She was really worried. She wouldn't tell me exactly what it was, but she was really worried. So she brought it to Elon Musk's chief of staff. And then his chief of staff brought it to Elon Musk, and she gets a sit-down meeting with him. And they sit down. She explains her scientific reasoning for why why she thinks that there's a problem with this element of the Cybertruck. And what she told me, and what I later found out, is that her words were, it did not go well. I was fired on the spot, and it was like talking to a robot, like zero human emotion, like literally talking to a robot. And then I was living in LA at the time, so I had a friend who her husband worked for Tesla, and I meet her for coffee one day, and she's like, did you realize what happened to so-and-so? Did you hear about it? And I'm like, yeah, I heard about it. And she goes, apparently she, whether from exhaustion or stress or the horror of seeing a robotic man, fainted. And the Elon's bodyguards just like scooped her up, and she was fired that day. I don't know if they like put her out on the street or put her at her desk and then immediately ushered her out when she came to. But just that one like story has stuck with me forever. And I always thought of that, like someone who in good faith was trying to come to this person scientifically with a concern and a solution of like, here's how we can fix this. And he just said, you're wrong, and fired her instantly. She passes out. And this is someone who had been there, I think, for 5 or so years and had no other performance issues. And so it's always been abundantly clear to me that there's something deep and dark and problematic with this person. He's not just an entrepreneur. He's not just just anyone who can so callously throw away and discard of somebody who has built the very product that their fortune is based upon. I don't think that makes them brilliant. I don't think, even if he is technically a genius, and who knows, he's apparently making up stories about his video game scores. Even if someone is a genius or has wrestled all of this power and able to assemble resources to create the things that he's created, I don't care. Like, we could live without you. For you to just consistently be treating people as disposable and just things to discard, that shows such a lack of interest in humanity that no amount of like utilitarian thinking, a lot of these people like Musk like to say, well, this is bad in the short term, but it's good for the future of humanity. No one can predict the future that far out. No matter how much you think that this is all a simulation that you've gamed out, no, you can't. And I just think that humanity is being in the present and being, yes, also planning for the future, but to just show a pattern of such disregard for humans when you claim to be all about humanity is such a red flag in so many ways about this person. He's not just a genius car maker entrepreneur. There's something sick in him. And so these are the fights that I used to get into with these exes, and it was actually a really good litmus test to be able to see, like, okay, if he's defending Elon Musk, there's something more to be digging into with this person. I mean, especially now. This was back in 2018, 2019. And yeah, that's my story.